Everybody, welcome back. Today we're going to be looking at the films that we love from 1931. Join me as we look back to a wonderful era, the 30s. This time we're focusing on the year 1931. These are the films that we all loved, or should love. If you haven't already, check out the films. Go online, any movie subscription services that you have, and check out these films. They're worth watching. I've seen them all. I love them. So let's go ahead and check out the films that we loved from 1931. All right, first we have A Free Soul, a crime, drama, and romance. An alcoholic lawyer who successfully defended a notorious gambler on a murder charge objects when his free-spirited daughter becomes romantically involved with him. A Free Soul, released in 1931. Next up we have is Aerosmith, not the band Aerosmith, but Aerosmith. A medical researcher is sent to a plague outbreak where he has to decide priorities for the use of a vaccine. This is a drama featuring Ronald Colman. I love Ronald Colman. If you haven't seen him, check out Ronald Colman. Next up we have one of my favorite actors of the 30s is Lowell Sherman. This is Bachelor Apartment. A New York playboy dates wild women until he falls for a hard-working stenographer. Bachelor Apartment. If you haven't checked it out, check it out. It is really, really good. Bad Sister is a drama. Marianne falls in love with a con artist who has a hidden agenda. Bad Sister, starring Conrad Nagel and Sidney Fox. Check out Bad Sister. Next we have Charlie Chaplin, one of his biggest hits, City Lights, comedy, drama, and romance. With the aid of a wealthy, erratic tippler, a dewy-eyed tramp who has fallen in love with a sightless flower girl accumulates money to be able to help her medically. A charming movie, City Lights. Next up we have is City Streets. And this is with Sylvia Sidney and Gary Cooper. Crime, drama, and film noir. Man joins a gang to free his girlfriend from prison. City Streets. So this should be pretty good because Gary Cooper's in it. I don't think he made any bad films. Next up we have is Dance, Fools, Dance. This is a crime, drama, and romance film. After the death of her father and loss of the family fortune, Bonnie, Joan Crawford, gets a job as a cub reporter while her brother becomes involved in bootlegging. Who doesn't like bootlegging? Next up we have is Dishonored, dun dun dun, crime, romance, and war film. The Austrian Secret Service sends its most seductive agent to spy on the Russians. And Dishonored, Marlene Dietrich stars in this nail-biting drama and war movie. Alright, next up we have is Dracula. Everybody's seen Dracula. Released in 1931, starring the infamous Bela Lugosi, Transylvanian vampire Count Dracula, bends a naive real estate agent to his will and then starts murdering women at his choosing. And he's afraid of garlic and the sun and the cross. Next up is The Fighting Caravans, a western. A young frontier scout helps guide a freight wagon train across the country, fighting off Indians, Indians, and evil traders, while his two crusty companions try and save him from falling in love. Next up we have another horror, Frankenstein, starring Boris Karloff. Dr. Frankenstein, Colin Clive, dares to tamper with life and death by creating a human monster out of lifeless body parts. Dracula and Frankenstein were the top dogs of 1931. Next up we have is Honor Among Lovers. Drama and romance. Jerry Stafford, a businessman, is in love with his secretary, but she deserts him for another man. When she realizes her mistake, because she was being all slutty, She goes back to him. All right, that was Honor Among Lovers. Next we have is Indiscreet. A young woman jeopardizes the relationship with the man she loves when a no account from her past shows up. Comedy, musical, and romance film starring Gloria Swanson. I'm ready for my close-up. I think she said that. I'm ready for my close-up. Inspiration. Yvonne is a beautiful model who loves frequenting the Parisian bohemian life because she loves hobnobbing with artists. So that is the Inspiration with Greta Garbo. So check it out if you haven't already. It's she's like awesome. What's next? Another horror film from 1931, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. So far we have Dracula, Frankenstein, and Dr. Jekyll faces horrible consequences when he lets his dark side run wild with a potion that transforms him into the animalistic Mr. Hyde. A great horror film for the time. Next up we have is Little Caesar. A small-time criminal moves to a big city to seek bigger fortune. And this is with Douglas Fairbanks Jr. and Leonard Robinson and Little Caesar. Another great film is called M. See the M in the hand? Talk to the hand. When the police in a German city are unable to catch a child murderer, other criminals join in the manhunt. M for murder. So let's check out M. If you haven't already, I highly recommend M or What's next? The Sin of Madeleine Claudette. Crime, drama, and music film. Out of jail for a crime she didn't commit, Madeline turns to prostitution, where she's all slutty, and turning tricks, and thievery to send her illegitimate son to medical school. Oh, isn't that kind of sad back in 1931? Man of the World, a young American girl visits Paris accompanied by her fiancé and her wealthy uncle. This is a drama romance. There she meets and is romanced by a worldly novelist, starring William Powell, another fine actor. Next up we have is Greta Garbo in Mata Hari, a semi-fictionalized account of the life of Mata Hari, an exotic dancer who was accused of spying for Germany during World War I. Mata Hari is a very good film. Check it out. Great budget. And she's just a phenomenal actress. Next we have Millie. Helen Twelvetris. Millie's life begins to crumble when she finds out her husband is having an affair. So this is about the husband cheating on her. And it's a drama and romance movie. Will she win him back or will she move on? You need to check it out, Millie. Next we have This Modern Age. And this is a comedy drama music. A young American woman reunites with her estranged divorcee mother living chic, carefree life in Paris. She falls for Harvard football star on vacation, but his conservative parents disapprove of her. So, next up we have Monkey Business starring the Marx Brothers, Marcho, Graupo, Harpo, and Zeppo. On a transatlantic crossing, the Marx Brothers get up to their usual antics and manage to annoy just about everyone on the trip. Next up we have Other Men's Women. Events take an unhappy turn for Bill and Jack, two locomotive engineers, after Bill is attracted to his best friend's wife. Drama, music, and romance. So there'll be betrayal, fights, and brawls. Check it out. Next up we have is Pardon Us, comedy movie, crime and drama. Two guys end up in prison after attempting to sell beers to a policeman during Prohibition. Does that sound good? Pardon Us. Comedy, crime, drama. Check it out if you haven't already. What's next? We have Platinum Blonde. A young woman from a very rich family impulsively marries a reporter, but each assumes the other is the one whose lifestyle must change. So there'll be some grudges and people being very stubborn. Next up we have in Joan Crawford in Possessed. An ambitious factory girl meets a handsome, wealthy lawyer, but he's interested in her as a mistress, not a wife. So he wants her to be all slutty and cheap and trampy, but not as she's not wife material. She's more slutty, possessed. Next up, we have Blonde Crazy, the adventures of an egotistic con man and his glamorous accomplice. Blonde Crazy. I love James Cagney, one of my favorite actors of all time. If you don't know who he is, look him up. James Cagney is a beast of an actor. Next up we have is Tonight or Never. A young opera singer finds her career stalled because of her cold and passionless performances, until she finds romance with a handsome admirer. Comedy romance. Gloria Swanson is ready for her close-up in Tonight or Never. Next up we have Palmy Days, a comedy, music, and musical film. The assistant of a phony psychic leaves the fraudulent business and becomes an efficiency expert in Palmy Days. Eddie Cantor is phenomenal in this movie. Check it out. Next up we have is The Black Camel. The unsolved murder of a Hollywood actor several years earlier and an enigmatic psychic are the keys to help Charlie solve the Honolulu stabbing death of a beautiful actress. This is a crime, mystery, and thriller movie. Check it out. Next up we have is The Range Feud, a mystery western. Clint Turner is arrested for the murder of his girlfriend, Judy's father, a rival rancher who was an enemy of his own father, starring Buck Jones. The Range Feud. Looks pretty good. Next up we have is Seed. Bart is a clerk for a publishing company. He has written a novel. He and his wife Peggy have 5 children. Bart's former girlfriend Mildred manages the company's Paris office. Someone's going to get jealous and there'll be cheating and backstabbing. Seed. Next up we have Sidewalks of New York. A dim-witted slumlord tries to reform a gang of urban boys and impress an attractive young woman by transforming the rough neighborhood into a more decent place. Sidewalks of New York is an action, comedy, and crime movie. Next up we have is The Skin Game, a drama. An old traditional family and modern family battle over land in a small English village and almost destroy each other. This Alfred Hitchcock's The Skin Game. If you like Alfred Hitchcock, check out this film. It is a doozy. Next up we have is Skippy. I used to be called Skippy as a little kid. Skippy. Comedy, drama, family movie. Skippy is the mischievous son of a wealthy doctor, because I was mischievous. He meets Suki in poverty-ridden shantytown, and together they try to save Suki's pet from a cruel dog catcher. Skippy, starring Jackie Cooper. Next we have is Smart Money. A Greek barber has uncommon skills in playing poker and soon rises in the seedy world of illegal gambling. This is Edward G. Robinson. Smart Money. Check it out. It is a crime and drama film. Next up we have is Susan Lennox, Her Fall and Rise. Directed by Robert Z. Leonard and screenplay by Wanda Tuchuk. And this is Susan Lennox, Her Rise and Her Fall. So check it out. Greta Garbo. Next up we have is Svengali, starring John Barrymore, Marion Marsh, and Donald Crisp. And you know John Barrymore, the great-grandfather of Drew Barrymore. A music maestro uses hypnotism on a young model he meets in Paris to make her both his muse and his wife. Next up we have is Tarnished Lady, featuring Tallulah Bankhead, Clive Brook, and Phoebe Foster. And that is the German poster, but it should be called Tarnished Lady. So check it out. It's going to be a drama thriller. Next up we have James Cagney in Taxi. I love James Cagney. Who doesn't love James Cagney? Independent cabbie Matt Nolan is primed to let his fists and handgun deliver payback after a big taxi firm uses intimidation and violence to squeeze out small-timers. So James Cagney is going to get his revenge. I love James Cagney. Next up is The Millionaire. A millionaire automaker retires upon the advice of his doctor, but becomes so bored he buys half interest in a gas station and works works it on the sly. So check out The Millionaire, as he's now going to slum it up, where he's going to find love and happiness. Next up is The Royal Bed. Comedy, more interested in playing checkers with the servants than in governing his people. King Eric VIII is dominated by Martha, his queen, a humorless woman who believes in doing her royal duties. The Royal Bed. Let's check it out. Next up we have The Smiling Lieutenant. Comedy musical romance. An amorous lieutenant is forced to marry a socially awkwardly princess, though he tries to keep his violin-playing girlfriend on the side. So she's going to be all slutty, and they're going to hook up. You watch. The Champ. The Champ is a phenomenal movie with Jackie Cooper. Who doesn't love Jackie Cooper from Our Gang and Little Rascals? I think it was from Our Gang. An alcoholic ex-boxer struggles to provide a good life for his son. Jackie Cooper makes his breakout debut. Next up we have is The Front Page, another classic. A crusading newspaper editor tricks his retiring star reporter into covering one last case. Comedy, crime, and drama movie, The Front Page, which has been made at least almost a dozen times. The Front Page. Next up we have is The Lightning Warrior. Drama, family, and western. A Rin Tin Tin serial presented in 12 episodes. The mysterious Wolfman is terrorizing settlers in a western town. With the help of Rin Tin, young Jimmy and Carter unmask the Wolfman. So Rin Tin Tin is a lighthearted comedy for kids. Next we have The Mad Genius, featuring Barrymore. Drama, horror, and romance. A crippled man finds a boy and vows to make him a great dancer. The Mad Genius. So this is a horror movie, so it's going to be kind of evil back in 1931. Next up, we have another thriller, Public Enemy, featuring James Cagney. Crime and drama movie. An Irish-American street punk tries to make it big in the world of organized crime. James Cagney was short, like 5'4", 5'5", but he could pack a punch and beat people up. Next up we have is The Sea Ghost, starring Laura LaPlante and Alan Hale. Alan Hale is the father of Alan Hale Jr., the skipper of Gilligan's Island. A crooked lawyer trying to cheat a young girl out of her inheritance tries to convince a sea captain to help him. The Sea Ghost. Next up we have is The Sign of the Cross. A Roman soldier becomes torn between his love for a Christian woman and his loyalty to Emperor Nero. The Sign of the Cross, from famous director Cecil B. DeMille, very popular as silent film. Now he's doing talkies. Next up we have is The Royal Bed. More interested in playing checkers with the servants than in governing his people, King Eric VIII is dominated by Martha, his queen, a humorless woman who believes in doing her royal duty. I may have covered this earlier, I don't remember, so if this is a duplicate, bear with me, but this is The Royal Bed. Next up we have Three Wise Girls. Casey moves to New York and jumps from one job to another until she lands a modeling gig. This is a comedy, drama, and romance, starring Jean Harlow and Mae Clark. Next up we have is Three Girls Lost. Architect Gordon finds fellow apartment house resident Joan locked out and flirts with her. When she is murdered, evidence points to him. So now he has to find who the killer is while he's being punished. Three Girls Lost. Next up we have Trouble in Paradise. And here we have comedy, crime, and romance. A gentleman thief and a lady pickpocket join forces to con a beautiful perfume company owner. Romantic entanglements, jealousies confuse the scheme. This is a comedy, crime, and romance. Trouble in Paradise. Next we have Waterloo Bridge. A prostitute's self-loathing makes her reluctant to marry an idealistic soldier during World War I. So she feels guilty for being a slut and slutty and turning tricks in 1930. Well, it's true. Check it out. And lastly, we have the movie called Way Back Home, featuring Philip Lord, Effie Palmer, and Frank Albertson. A rural Maine farmer fights for custody of the boy who he's raised as his own. Way Back Home. That's it for the films that we love from 1931. Hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, comments, or feedback, leave them below. If I left out one of your favorite films from 1931 that I didn't cover, go ahead and leave that in the comment section below, and maybe we can talk about it in another video. I'm Tony. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.